Welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to talk about my 3 home births, my experience, Dalton's experience, our perspective, our different views, our different roles.
I like that.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Last week, we talked about why we were going to do the home birth. This week, we were talking about the actual experience of the home birth, and Lauren's about to dive into that. I have my experience with it, too. Let's dive into it.
Let's do it. All right. So we've had 3 home births. 1 at our old house, 2 in the current house that we live in, 1 girl, 2 boys. And thankfully, they've all been great, successful home births. And we just want to talk a little bit about each experience. I know this is something that's super interesting to me, is to hear about others' home birth experience, even though now I'm like past having babies. But before I had babies, in the middle of it, I just think listening to home birth experiences are very helpful.
Yeah.
They shed light on a lot of things. They're very encouraging.
Cost that we didn't say in the last one is a factor,
We
that
didn't
is
say
helpful.
cost. Yeah.
Did you say that or no?
No, I did not.
I mean, it's only $2,500 or something.
$2,500 in our town-ish to
Yeah.
have a baby at home, which I believe is less expensive than a hospital.
For sure.
So that's a plus.
That is a plus.
Okay, so we had our first baby 7-ish years ago at home. The benefit that we had was that my sister had just had a baby at home 6 months before that, and she invited me to watch. So I was able to go to her house, watch her have a home birth. It was her 3rd child. She had had 2 babies in the hospital and weren't ideal, I guess you could say. She didn't love the process of everything, so she chose to have her 3rd baby at home, invited me to see it, and that helped solidify, yes, we want a home birth. So that was super helpful to see her do it. 6 months later, it was my turn, and I always get really fidgety and antsy, which I think a lot of
Yeah.
women do right before you're about to give birth. I'm always like, I don't know what I need to clean, but I'm going to clean something. I'm going to put away random things. I always try to take a nap, and I
Yeah.
can't take a nap. But you are on the duty of, what do you always do?
I was going to get the tub ready, blown up, the water hose moved over there. And at that time, it wasn't warm.
You have to get the water hose connected.
We have to get it connected. And did we pull warm water from the washing machine the first time?
With Wiley, we did, yeah.
Okay. So you pull it from there, and then I had to get the pots and pans and then all the stuff where the midwife's coming over.
Yeah. So you
Pots,
kind of set up
pans,
all the
oven mitts,
yeah,
the baster.
all the things. We kind of have our corner that we're like, this is our birthing, all of our birthing stuff. So when it's time, we can
This is what we're
direct
gonna
our
do.
midwives there. Dalton's getting the pool from there. I chose a water birth for all 3 of my babies. I know you don't have to do a water birth if you choose to do a home birth, but I loved giving birth in the water. It made me feel weightless, like I mentioned on the last episode. It was funny, though. I never got to see myself, but people would tell me your 6-foot body in this little pool was quite humorous, how my
Yeah.
legs would fit in there, but they fit,
Yeah,
and it
no,
worked.
they fit. That day, yeah, what did we do? You went to go rest, and we grabbed Chick-fil-A, and then we were trying to watch what?
Oh yeah, that day we were watching. Yeah, we grabbed Chick-fil-A to eat. We were watching The Office, and I had a blanket over my head, and I was like, I cannot get comfortable. I hate my life right now. And you were like, I think you should call the midwife.
Yeah.
So I called the midwife, and she said, try to take a nap. And so I went and laid upstairs, and I
Upstairs.
was like, this is miserable. I am feeling way too much stuff to lay down and take a nap right now. So I called her again. And she was like, I'm headed to you. She thought I probably wouldn't give birth until the next day, because I think if it's your first birth, it normally takes longer to labor. But for me, it was fairly quick. And so that day I was giving birth just a couple hours later. And my sister came.
After some screams that she could hear across the street.
Yeah, my mom loves the story that she was pulling up in the car to come witness this birth and could hear my moans, my groans, and my screams as she was driving down our street to come to our house. Now, I will say we had a broken window
We
upstairs.
had a broken window, and
so I
you
think
threw
that
up.
helped.
You did throw up the nuggets, didn't you?
I threw up all the nuggets that I had the night before.
So I was cleaning that up. I did clean that one up.
Yeah, I don't remember where I threw it up, but I remember, I
Just
do.
on the floor.
On the way to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I almost made it.
Yeah.
But I didn't. That's called something. It's called transition. When the baby's transitioning from up, wherever it is, into down, that
Needs
your
all that room.
belly wants to get rid of everything that it has to make enough room. And I had stuffed my face with Chick-fil-A the night before, apparently.
That's why we didn't do Chick-fil-A.
That's why we did not eat Chick-fil-A after for the post-birth meal. I tried to get comfortable in the shower. I remember like the warm water. Warm water is always soothing. You went and got a stool from my sister's house for me to sit in or sit on, and that nothing was helping because I was ready to give birth. And we were trying to make me comfortable, and I wasn't, if now I know, my body was like, don't get comfortable. We're about to go in action here.
We're going into it.
Go in super.
And luckily Michelle
mode.
came over after the stool, and that was good.
After the stool thing failed and that wasn't helping me get comfortable, Michelle came over, who again just experienced this 6 months before. She was telling me to breathe. I did have blood coming down, and I remember her messaging our midwife that hadn't made it yet. She was like, is this normal? And they said, yes, with a first birth, it is normal, because I had never gotten that large before down there. So there was some stretching, and with stretching comes blood sometimes. And then, oh my gosh, the midwife didn't even make it with Wiley.
Yeah.
So it was the two doulas, like the two assistants who had come to the appointments.
She didn't think that you were going to actually go into
That's what it was.
labor.
Yes. She didn't make it. It was the two assistants who had come to the appointments, but my midwife lives further away, and she thought I wasn't going to have birth, so she kind of like held off a little bit.
She was coming by horse and buggy anyway.
Yeah, she lives out in Amish
That carriage
country.
wasn't going to make it.
It wasn't. It didn't have the horsepower that it needed to have.
Got him.
Got him. And I remember once I finally got in the tub, I saw my sister who was in front of me. She mouthed to the doula behind me, "Have you ever done this before? Like by yourself?" And I looked back, and the doula was like, "No." So no one there had given birth at home without a midwife being present. But they've had so much experience, with all past births and things like that.
I like the hand story.
In the moment, I didn't really care who was there. I was like, this baby's got to come out.
Yeah. I just remember with the contractions and you, with how hard that you could squeeze my hand at that moment, was about to crush it, and I was trying not to say anything. But it's crazy because you got that versus Chancho, my dad, who has huge hands, and he could squeeze my hands, and it doesn't hurt like that. But when you grabbed them in the way that you did and just on the side of that tub, because I was in the front, it was just so tight and kept going that you were about to break it. It was just incredible strength.
Oh.
If we could unlock it again.
If we could unlock it again, what would we do with it?
Turn into like that split guy or something.
Yeah. What, the split personality guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
With his strength, how he runs on all fours and stuff.
Oh gosh, creepy. But I do remember this moment. I remember with each contraction, I was squeezing my legs really tight and like, holding it all in. And I remember when Candace came over and she was like, no, 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 no. And she had you stand there and she was like, your next contraction, I want you to lean 100% and like hang on Dalton and let go of everything. Get really loose, let go of all that tightness.
I remember that.
And your contraction will actually pass a lot faster and be a lot less painful. I did that one time and I said, this baby is almost out. I have to get in the water or she's going to come out just me standing here. It was night and day between like me trying to hold it in and get really tight versus me letting loose and again surrendering to my body, which is something I carried on to the next two births. Was like I'm in tune with my body, but I'm not like in control. I do have to surrender and listen to what it's doing. Mm-hmm. So that was Wiley. And then Gray was, let me just gather my thoughts real fast with Gray. It was in the winter, right before Christmas. We had just moved into a new home on Thanksgiving. So just a couple weeks later, I gave birth to him at home. We still the house wasn't even finished.
What time was his? Oh, that's right. And we had the contractor. That was the big one with that one. Because we were finishing that one. We had the contractor downstairs.
We were finishing our house. The contractor was downstairs, and you yelled down to him, "Hey, man, you got to go. Lauren's about to have this baby here at the house."
And he was taking a minute.
And I was like, "Don't tell him to get out."
And then you yelled down there, so he just ran out and wrecked his truck into the bushes trying to get out.
I knew the sounds that were about to come out of my mouth, and I just really didn't want to be like, is someone listening? I
Yeah.
just wanted to let loose and let it out. So I was
And
like,
let
I
God.
need him out of this house.
That one, and then we ran out of hot water. I remember that.
That
So,
one we ran out of hot water. I actually almost think that Wiley and Gray, we were out of hot water, which inspired our decision to install tankless
hot water
heater
with
in
gas,
our house.
which is that's a 3-part episode
Yeah.
on this tankless thing, and it not working right now.
It's a fail.
It's
but
crazy.
It did give us, for our third birth, the hot water that we needed. But for Gray, we did run out of hot water. And again, you set up the pool. You set up
Pool, ran the hoses,
connected everything.
So little, what's it called? Little Stet's bath stuff.
Yeah, I don't know those.
Sets
or salts. I don't know.
Salty.
Sits.
Thank you.
The sits bath, which always feels really good afterwards. With Gray, I bled the most. I had blood clots coming out afterwards.
Remember that.
And our midwife was a little concerned. And I just remember being like, all I know is it feels good to get this blood out, so let's just keep doing it. And she was like, well, if you keep doing more, we're going to probably have to take you somewhere. And I stopped, thankfully.
Was Gray the one that that was the hardest, what's it called, the post-contraction stuff?
Oh,
Or was
my
that-
gosh, that was.
That was the one that was the hardest part of the most pain that I would think that you were in of all of it. Like the worst part, because it lasted, was that.
Yes, was the post-birth contractions while he was breastfeeding. I didn't have any of them with Wiley, didn't have any with Walker. With Gray, and I guess it would have probably something to do with the fact that I also had blood clots and bled a lot, maybe. Maybe it's connected in some way. But when he would nurse, I would get actually scared when it was time to feed him because I knew the pain that I was about to feel in my uterus, the contractions that I was about to feel, and then to like hold a baby and have to hold him steady and give him life and what he needs while going through that pain was unreal. And you helped me stay calm. I mean, you were giving me whatever I needed, but it lasted for weeks.
It did last for weeks.
It was really, really hard.
Only a mother.
Only a mother can do that. It's so true.
And then Wawa's was fun. And
Wawa's was fun. This is our third. We've gone through it twice. We've
Yeah.
learned some things.
Wawa's
My word,
fun.
yeah, my word for Wawa's was surrender because I really just wanted to listen to my body fully and do what it needed me to do instead of having the expectations of what I felt like it should look like. And we had the lights low. We had worship music on. I had these cards that I had been speaking over myself for months now about like that my body was made to do this, that beautiful things come from surrender, like all these little mantras that I had been speaking over myself. I had my cards laid out on the table. I really enjoyed my midwife and my doula for Wawa's birth. It matters to have a connection with
Yeah, it
them
does.
and to feel like they get you and you get them. So I really enjoyed them. And he was born in the spring. So like you had just gone through the deadness of winter and the cold of winter and everything was coming to life outside. And I just remember seeing all the greenery out the window and being so excited, like warm weather's almost here. Spring is upon us, you know? And
Wawa.
yes.
It was funny with the midwives coming in, though, and you can finish yours if you're on your. That was the time though that they were the most. Like I was normally the one part that is surprising with it is how calm I was compared to them most of the time. The midwife coming in and just crazy like at that moment. I don't know what it was that she was so frantic and she was like. I remember her saying, "Oh, the oven doesn't work," and it was on. She turned on the gas oven like had done it like 2 minutes ago. Couldn't tell if it was on or not, and she was like, "Oh, the hose. What do we do with it?" And was about to just pull the hose out into the living room.
Remember when she walked in and she said, "Where are the washcloths? Where are the washcloths?" And I was like, "They're right behind the door. Like, we can tell you whatever you need." I did have my preference of my midwife.
Of who?
Yeah.
And that calming presence was not one of her skills.
Strong suits.
No.
Correct. But you, I feel like, are extra calm and made up for. I kind of tuned her out and was just like, holding your hands is what's going to get me through this. And my doulas. I always enjoyed my doulas.
The doulas, yeah.
So that was really helpful. But yeah, back to Wawa. So, Wawa,
Oh, wow, wow.
he's so cute. That birth was so fast. I remember trying to take a nap at 3 o'clock. Wiley had a play date that evening. My mom came and got Gray, and he was in my arms by 5:30. It was also a water birth. I remember staying in that water. This was when we now have the tankless hot water heater, so we had as much hot water as we wanted, which was great. And after that birth, I stayed in the hot water for a minute
Yeah.
while my doula fed me like nutrient-packed ice
Oh,
chips,
yeah.
remember? And I just would be like, and open my mouth, and she'd just pop another one in there, and I'd chew it up, and I'm holding my baby, and then open my mouth again, and she'd put another one.
I remember that.
It was so relaxing and calming and so nice to just sit there with him and be served, honestly.
I think one thing that no matter how much head knowledge you can have on it, with them telling you about the baby being under the water and that they're not taking their first breath until they're coming out of the water, like no matter what, whenever you see it though and they're underwater, you're like, get that baby.
Yeah.
Grab that baby. That baby's under the water.
I remember.
And they're always very calm and moving them, and you're like, gosh, grab that baby.
Yeah.
Sitting there under that water.
Because they're under the water for a few pushes.
Yeah.
You don't just
Yes.
push once and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden they're out. Like I remember mom specifically with Wiley. She was like, Wiley was under the water blinking and like looking up at me. And I'm like, get that baby out of the water. But she's not breathing yet until she comes up out. Yeah.
You wouldn't get
That's something
after
I never have to
hundreds
see.
of times.
Because the baby.
Yeah.
I always gave birth kind of like with my knees down in the pool and my arms up, belly down, I guess.
Them asking me if I wanted to come back there
And cut the cord or catch the baby.
catch the baby. I said, look at me. I said, I want you to look at me right now.
Look at
You-
my eyes.
Look in my eyes. Do I look like somebody who wants to
Catch this
also
baby.
catch this baby right now? I'm like,
Yeah.
let me do my thing. Y'all do y'all's.
Yeah,
back
I'll
there.
take her hand crushing squeezes,
Yeah.
and you guys catch the
Y'all
baby.
figure out the baby side of this.
Yeah. And you didn't cut the cord, or did you, with any of them?
No, the cord. I don't think I cut the main cord. I cut what was left of it off or something.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I did.
I don't remember.
See, that's one of the things that like a lot of people
A lot of people would like
have
save
that in their
that cord.
scrapbook and stuff. Like that it gets turned into a bracelet and
Yeah.
everything for people, and we
I
don't
tossed
have
that
that.
thing outside of the squirrels
Yeah.
immediately.
She was talking about like, didn't you like refurbish it and stuff?
My placenta I did with Wiley.
Refurbished it and sold it to GNC.
Yeah. I took my placenta with Wiley and gave it to a doula to turn into, she dried it, blended it, and turned it into
jerky.
capsules. Close. Turned it into capsule pills, which I then took to give my body back the nutrients that it lost with the placenta, but I didn't notice a difference.
You stick to athletic greens.
So I was just like, I'll just stay with AG1.
AG wanted some Armra.
Yeah.
I don't need that old placenta. Like, keep that placenta jerky. I just want some Armra.
That's another thing, though, that I didn't know. After I had Wiley, I was like, oh, it's over. And then the midwife said, okay, I'm just going to push on your belly, and you're going to push, and out comes your placenta. And
You're
I
like,
was
"Wait,
like,
Yes, I remember that. You
I
were in a
have to do
recliner.
this again? What? And it was so nuts to me that this is the process of it, but it is. So again, surrender to the process of it. But the fact that you have to push after you just pushed out a baby and then have someone massage on your belly to help get it out. I know she was just trying to help, but also I don't want you on me,
No.
you know?
I know.
So that was
probably
another
such
thing.
a unique feeling.
It was such a unique feeling. I mean, you know, just like a thing of jelly coming on out. So that was something I didn't know that was going to happen, and learned that after having Wiley.
Has anyone done a home birth with your influence that you can think of?
Oh, I don't know, but that'd be interesting.
They also don't know that you could sell on this podcast that we're sponsored by your course, Better Sleeping Baby.
Yeah, which has gone to shambles because both of our boys sleep with us every night now. So
Can't keep up with that one.
can't keep up with that one. It's too hard to juggle too many things. Anything else we want to say about our 3 home births? Yeah.
Love them.
Super thankful that we did it. I'll answer any questions. I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to home birthing. I would love to help you on your decision or share more of my experience. Or if you don't want to hear about it, then don't ask.
I know. We're like really self-focused with that stuff. I would say for the people that it's like, I'm okay if you do the hospital one. I think that's fine too.
Absolutely.
I'm like, I have 100%, like, I don't have anything in me that's like, if that was what's
I'm
best
right,
for you.
you're wrong, yeah.
But I do feel like if you come from this angle of that home birth and talking about it positively versus, because you have to compare it to another thing, which is mainly in the hospital, but people are going to take that as a negative.
Right.
But they shouldn't. I'm telling you, you shouldn't.
Yeah,
You
don't
need to
let
be
it
offended.
ruffle your feathers. Just move on by.
What's our hat?
What's
that
our
tear?
hat? What does it say?
Something.
Avoid that tear or something?
Avoid that tear. Or watch that tear, avoid that tear.
Gosh, was it avoid that tear or
I think so.
was it?
We'll listen back.
We'll listen back and we'll figure it out.
We'll know. Merch coming next.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
All
Like,
right.
follow, subscribe. See you next time.
See you next time.